Of course, today's show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Yes, we're talking about the top-rated sports booking app in all of North America. Safe, secure, and my favorite, reliable. Reliable. And whenever we talk about DraftKings, we know why we bring them up. It's because the NFL season is back. And with the NFL season being in full swing, a lot of action, a lot of opportunities as well to find ways to spice it up for you. And the thing that we do know is some people like to have a little fun putting a little wagers on the game. Well, if you are in that category, well, let me just tell you, I got action for you, all right? So for the new customers out there, when you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Moats. When you do that, $5 bet, instantly you get $200 in bonus bets. It's a nice concept, as you can tell. But you got to use that promo code, all right? Use it, use it, use it. But I also understand that at times you might get lost in the sauce, potentially even developing a gambling problem. Well, if you live in New York, you see the number that you could text. But for everybody else, the digits to dial are 1-800-GAMBLER. I said 1-800-GAMBLER. But let's talk real quick, man, some college QB prospects, man, to watch for, all right? Because like I said, man, we are tracking these guys this season, man, because we know we're in the market, right? We were in the market heavily last year, heavily the past couple of years. And even though Rodgers looked good week one, we also understand he is a little bit on the older side, and we don't know how long this marriage will last. Is it a 2 year, 3 years, just a singular year? We don't know that. So we obviously have to prepare and make sure that we're taking into account our future. Okay. We can't just be throwing it out there. Like, we gotta be careful. Okay. Sheesh. But with that though, man, this week, man, we do have some interesting games. Obviously, I know the quarterback that I talked about week one, Lenore Sellers, man, big athlete, throws that rock, slings it around, gives you some of that Cam Newton, some of that Lamar Jackson, some of that Josh Allen. He has a lot of that with his frame, with the ability to run and throw it. But number 11, South Carolina has Vanderbilt coming to town. Vanderbilt, I'm not, crazy hype about them, but what I will say is this: Vanderbilt plays tough. Their defense usually is good, and they find ways to muck some of that up. So I am interested to see how he handles that type of game. Granted, with it being at South Carolina, I don't anticipate it being a hostile environment because of it being at the crib. But that's one of the ones that I do think could be a little bit intriguing. Arch, man, in number 7, Texas, going for taking on UTEP. Y'all know what that is, man. So yeah, I expect Arch to look like how he looked last week. Keep it clean, Arch, slaying that rock around, but you should look good, really good versus UTEP. All right. When you don't look really good versus UTEP, that's when we start looking at you like, hold on, bro. All right. So I do anticipate nice reviews from him. This one I was excited about up until about a week ago. Shout out to the Gators for taking the air out of it. But yeah, Garrett Messmeyer, and the number 3 LSU Tigers versus Florida. Anytime you get SEC versus SEC rivalry games, obviously we know that typically means highly competitive, defense, scoring, all these included. Unfortunately, Florida has been a little bit unique of lately. Okay. We obviously know what unique means. Okay. That's my nice way of saying not so good. Okay. So with that, LSU should do what LSU does. Score a lot of points. Garrett should look really good out there. And I don't really anticipate seeing a lot of it being competitive, man. Florida is down right now. All right. But that is one where, yeah, hopefully Florida will surprise us and give us something to make it interesting. But Garrett is obviously the quarterback, though, or a quarterback that I'm still waiting on. I want to see another one of those nice, competitive, and then let me see him rise again, man, because he looked good week one, man, from the highlights that I saw. I didn't, watch that game. I was watching the Texas Ohio State one, but like I said, man, that's one of the ones I'm still just kind of waiting on real quick. We still not going to see nothing from Drew Allar yet, man. Number 2, Penn State. They taking on Villanova. No offense to all the Villanova, Wildcats and all that stuff out there. Shout out to y'all. But yeah, man. Yeah. You know what this is, bro. You know what this is. All right. Number 2, Penn State versus Villanova. If we want to call it the in-state game, that changes it. It makes it a little bit more sexy. But yeah, man, y'all know what that one's supposed to be. So we'll see how good or how great Drew Allard looks for as long as he plays. Probably get that man to halftime. All right. With all due respect to Villanova and all my Wildcat fans out there. All right. No disrespect to y'all. It's just, yeah. Penn State is Penn State right now, and they're feeling good. We know they got the big test coming up in week 5 when they have Oregon. All right. And that's the one where we'll really get a chance to see what Drew Allard really is made of this season. All right. But he should for sure pass this test with flying colors, like not even a debate. All right. I like this one right here, though. Clemson, Cade Klubnik at Georgia Tech. Playing at Georgia Tech kind of reminds me of when you see teams play at Vanderbilt. It's that weird, janky, hostile environment that they have, and it is just tough to play there. They muck it up, they slow it down, they take the air out. I mean, shoot, we even saw, was it Colorado at Georgia Tech, and how that game and how the Colorado Georgia Tech game was, right? Weird, slow, mucked up, and it's just like they do enough weird stuff. They got that nice little quarterback too that keeps pressure on, that Clemson defense. So I am interested to see how Cade Klubnik does in this game. I think this will be an interesting one to watch, to, like I said, get a little bit more understanding on Cade. All right. So Clemson at Georgia Tech, definitely one of the ones to keep an eye on. The game that I will for sure have my eyes on, Carson Beck, number 5, Miami, hosting number 18, South Florida. All right. We know what South Florida, man, productive, or at least they think they're productive team, right? But like you said, man, with them being ranked, man, that should be an interesting one, man. But more importantly, with the game being in Miami, I do like that for Carson. But I want to see, man, how he continues to respond, how he continues to perform. And with these games getting bigger and bigger due to, the more he wins, the better he plays and things like that. That is what I'm interested to see in the sense of how he continues to handle that pressure. And then the last one, but certainly not least, John Maytier, number 13, Oklahoma. They have to travel to Temple this week. Shout out to Temple, but I don't have a ton of expectations for Temple to make this game overly competitive. I do feel like John Maytier in Oklahoma should start out fast and have a lot of success against Temple. Like I said, for me, the games that I'm really excited about, Miami versus South Florida, that's the one, because Carson Beck, I really want to see that one. Clemson at Georgia Tech, Cade Klubnik, I think that's going to be interesting. And then Lenore Sellers, number 11, South Carolina versus Vanderbilt. Those are the 3 that I'm really locked in on this week. So we will see how that plays out, man. But like I said, man, while we're over here trying to figure out who could be that potential quarterback of the future, who could be the potential quarterback that we might draft next year, let's start getting eyes on these dudes, man. Let's follow the storylines now so we can actually feel some of how they feel. Okay, there's a big game this week. How do they handle that pressure? All right, man, this is kind of a small, easier opponent. Let's see how they handle that pressure versus we wait to the end of the season and it's like, all right, we just pick random games to watch, but we don't know the full storyline of how each week was, etc. And more importantly, how teams were handling, okay, were you ranked, were you not ranked, all the other things in between. I think that's going to be the fun part. And like I said, that's why for me, it's like, man, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's be more intentional so that way we all know what is going on. All right. But shout out. And if y'all digging what we on, don't forget to hit the like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel.